Great.
You look
Look,
fantastic.
that's matching. Well, it's the way I always am, so I would rather be any other way. Like,
Me too.
yeah. I met up with Melissa the other day at Twigs for a brief hot minute on Olivia's birthday, and gave her a couple things, and we chatted, and I pretty much talked the whole time, and I had like makeup on, but like makeup I put on in like 4 seconds, and I had just finished my workout. And so it was like dabbing on eyeshadow, and it was like sweating down my face. And then the whole drive there, I was just going like this, wiping it off. And then she were there, and my hair is like soaking wet. And I was wearing a dress, but like my back was still sweaty. And I'm like, she's like, "Oh, you just got out of the shower." I'm like, no, I just literally finished working out, and this is all sweat. It was soaked. It was so gross.
Oh
It's
my
such a
gosh.
nice place.
It was
too.
awesome.
I'm like, can we sit outside? Okay, so hi, the rest of the team who's going to watch this recorded. We are on here tonight to talk about Instagram growth, because AJ reached out to me, said that was something she wanted to talk about and kind of work on to just next level up her business. It's something I have not been very diligent in over the last probably 4 months, maybe 5, since I started spring quarter, and I had that heavy course load of 4 really hard classes and 20 credits at once. I just kind of tried to maintain. So I wasn't doing a lot of these strategies. You'll notice if you look back at like the last month or so of posts, I'm not putting a lot of hashtags on, things like that. And some weeks I was only doing 3 or 4 posts. Is it cutting out for you guys, or is it okay?
It's okay.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, it was cutting out my ear.
I mean, on occasion you freeze, but it comes back pretty
A
quickly.
little bit here and
That's
there.
my country internet, but I bought a new router today, so hopefully that will help. Okay, so with life got busy, so I had 12.5 thousand followers before that, and now I don't even know, but I'll go look. I know it's less. Now I have 11.4. So in like 6 months of just maintenance, I lost over 1,000 followers. So that just is kind of to show you that it really takes consistency. And I will also say that I dropped like the first 500 in like 2 weeks. It was traumatizing. I was like, but I didn't have time to do anything else about it. And you can only do what you can, right? So I was just trying to be consistent with my posting, but not doing a lot of the little things. But I'll go over what those consistent things are that I always do no matter what. And then I'll go into a couple of the things that I kind of let slip that I'm going to start doing again. Pay no attention to the sweat dripping right down my face. I can feel it like dripping off my ear and hitting my chest. Anyway, these MBF workouts get me sweating more than even what was the one, Amal, the work, like that work my body, but these make me sweat, man. It's unreal. But then again, it is summer, so maybe that's it. So one thing that I always do is well, okay, let's start with just the regular posting. I really think the best growth strategy you can have is posting once a day on Instagram. You can do 2, but you need to post at least once a day for that consistency. And from there, you can get into the overall style look of having a cohesive page. And I can show you different ones, but you can scroll through your phone and you can look at, even go through to your own followers list and look through some of them and the people you connect with and see whose look you like. There's a lot of curating you can do with that. You've seen, so mine right now kind of has like a neutral and an earthy theme. I'm going to go to speaker view so it makes it a little bigger, but that's just because I'm outdoors a lot in the summer. And so that's kind of just my natural aesthetic in the summertime. There's going to be a lot of browns and greens and outdoor stuff. And my hair is colorful enough, I guess, for some pops of color here and there. And I usually make my pops of color food. I don't do filters, but some people will choose a filter and they'll make all their posts the same filter. And some people will follow you just for that overall aesthetic, but I don't think that it's a requirement at all because I don't use a filter at all. I just prefer natural light. I play with filters and fun things in my stories, but I don't really worry about it for the overall look of my page. But there are some people I follow that have great patterns on their pages. And I'm going to show you a couple of those real quick. So my friend Kaylee, this is just someone I am friends with and worked with. She did a series for a while. So she frames her pictures with a white crop. So her page has lots of space. And so that's just the look she has. And she likes this like kind of airy light filter. And then she also has a modeling page, which I can pull up. And I haven't looked at it in a while, so I'll have to see if I can find that exact page. She took it off. I thought she might have. Okay, well, what she did on that was she did 3 photos that all look the same in a row. So like she would have 3 green outdoor pictures so that it was in a line, and then she would have 3 desert pictures, and then she would have 3 in a bright red dress. And so she always posts things in triplets, so her page always had lines of different themes. Other ones I've seen are people who do like inspirational quotes, where they block it so that every once in a while they do a quote and they always have the same background and the same font on those quotes or the same filter. So those are things you can do that are pleasing to people when they look at you, but I don't think that helps you with growth. So I don't really worry too much about that, because it won't help you grow, because no one's searching who uses a light filter, right? Or who has perfectly edited photos. They're searching you by topics, by hashtags, and then you can search words and come up with Instagram posts, but the only words that come up searchable are your name and your handle, and then what's in your bio, and that's it. So please make sure that you have your name and your bio. So by handle, I mean, like mine is just at Amanda Noddings, but that's because I made it a long time ago, and it would almost be smarter to have it something like the nutrition mama or whatever. You still would have your name be your name so people can find you, but that at handle, because that's your storefront, you're your brand, but your at handle can really be anything. So mine's just at Amanda Noddings. The problem with that is if someone searches like nutrition or fitness or workouts or whatever, if my name was at Workout Queen or something, they would be able to find me. But a lot of people aren't finding people through that as much as hashtags. So that's the real growth part that I think, besides consistent posting, is the hashtags. So there's 2 ways that you use hashtags. One is on your regular posts and one is on your stories. In your regular posts, I would put no more than 3 at the end of your actual post, because I think that it gets really junky looking if you add more than that. It looks kind of like, you know, haven't you've read a post where you see at the beach today having fun with my friends, and then it's like hashtag Herbalife, hashtag swimsuit, hashtag bikini mom, hashtag blah, and it's like 30 hashtags. You can put up to 30 on a post. And it used to be, when they first started that they would say always use 30. Even Chalene Johnson's Instagram training, a lot of people's trainings would say always use a 30. It doesn't matter if the hashtags are in your post or the comments, it affects the algorithm no differently. So if you want to use 10, you can put them in your actual post or your comments. And what I usually do is I use the period button and return, period, return, period, return, period, return, to create kind of like a vertical ellipses to give some space between what I'm typing and then my comments. I mean my hashtags. And I do that even if it's in the comments. So like, let's see. So like in this post here, I used a couple hashtags. This is first let me show you the picture. So this was a transformation from my first 3 weeks of MBF. And I used a couple hashtags actually inadvertently, because MBF has a hashtag, but I don't expect to recruit anybody really from who's going to search MBF, like the hashtag MBF. People that are going to use that hashtag are Beachbody coaches. They're not, or maybe someone already doing it. They might not have a coach, so you might get lucky, because at the end, Megan says, make sure and tag me in your workouts, hashtag MBF. So some people might do that, but but most of those people, if they already bought MBF, they technically have a coach. Now they might not be working with a coach and they might find you that way, but that's not how they're going to find someone who really suits them. So that's the only reason it says MBF is a hashtag and MBFA. So since I have 2 hashtags already in that post, I can only have 28 left to use, right? So for a regular post on it every day, I just use like 10 now, and I put them in the comments. But I could do up to 28. Since this was a big transformation post, I did use a bigger chunk. And so when you go to the comments, and hopefully you guys will see this, there is where I hashtagged, and let's see if it will focus, probably not. But anyway, it's in a comment. There, it's in a comment. I put at Megan Davies Fitness. I put my tag to her down there, and I put the hashtags in a comment. And I didn't worry about doing the periods because before I even got them up, oops, don't delete it. I already had like 5 comments ahead of it. So I didn't worry about it being the first thing people see under my post is a bunch of hashtags. But normally I would put the hashtags up right away afterwards. That one just got a lot of likes right away. So
Can I ask a question about
yeah,
that?
jump in anytime. Yeah.
So if somebody, I thought we needed to have the hashtags in the first comment for the algorithm, but we can add them later.
I haven't heard that.
Okay.
That could be true, but I don't think that it matters as far as any of the
Melissa's
trainings
shaking her
I've
head
done.
no.
Melissa, you haven't heard that? It
Okay.
just needs to be in a comment. And actually, Instagram now is changing the order of comments.
I
So
saw that.
so like on my account, I can choose to highlight a comment and make Melissa's, like if she said something really nice, then I might pin that to be the top one. I don't know if all accounts can do that yet or just over 10K, but usually the things that I can do, other people can do later anyway. Like my messenger changed before some people's did, and people were like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "You can thread comments."
I
I love it. People
remember
are like, "What are you
that.
talking about?"
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so some of those things are helpful. People like emojis on Instagram in the comments, like just like they like a good picture, they like the pictures in the comments, and they like things separated. Another thing I couldn't do before was the way my post has spaces between paragraphs. You couldn't do that before. I used to have to type it somewhere else and then copy and paste it. I used the Plan app to write my comments ahead. But now I can return right in Instagram and it keeps the space, which is really nice. Think about that when you're typing, especially if it's a longer post like this, because people want to be able to digest what they're seeing. And if it's like 10 miles long, like this was a longer one because it was a transformation post, I usually write a little more. If it's all one big run on, like you can't even follow like after a while because the letters are just, it's people are scrolling. So you always want to have a good image, a good picture. And when I go to my Instagram feed, I'm going to see, oops, sorry, Heather, I went right to her page. I'm going to see people's pictures. So like, I love that picture. I like the way it looks. And it's a sponsored one, go figure. But I like the way it looks. Now, if I went to that page, you can see that they all kind of have that same look. So usually what people will do is when they see your post and they think it looks like something that they like here's my neighbor Stella. So I'm like, oh, that's pretty. What is that about? And I'll read her caption. Then I'll click over to her page and I'll try and see. And it's just her family and stuff like that. She's just my neighbor. She's a regular lady, lots of outdoor stuff, lots of running posts. But I can see she's into health and fitness. I can see she has kids. I can see, kind of that we're in the same kind of niche. And so I might add her as a friend. And that's where we talk about that 5-3-1 method. So if she was brand new to me, I might go through and say, oh, I like this running shoes picture. Whoa, she ran 6 miles. That's way more than I can do. I like it, like this. And I might leave a comment like that, but only if she's someone that I think would be my tribe, my type of people, right? So if I like it, then I see these roses and I see, oh, that's from her husband. So she's married, and I see the ones of her kids. So I might like 4 or 5. You don't have to do 5 for it to work. It's really just kind of like a habit of getting you consistent with not just randomly adding people and then moving on and never talking to them again. So when I see in my feed, sometimes in my notifications, let's see if I can find one here. This happens almost every day from somebody that just becomes like a stalker, and they go through and they like, comment, and I'll go and my notifications, like every single one will have the same person's face, and it's like 500 things in a row. It's kind of weird. I'm just kind of like, are you a bot? Are you spam? Who are you? But if I see like yesterday I had this gal, she liked 2 different pictures, and then she sent me a message, and her message was so kind of almost robotic that I almost didn't think she was real, but she said she saw my MBF unboxing video on YouTube. And so she found me on Instagram because in my YouTube video description, I always put my email, my Instagram link, my Facebook, and whatever, and say reach out and here's how to reach me. And I put those in my YouTube comments. I have that saved as a comment in my notes, and I just copy and paste that part on the end of every YouTube video in the description. So I write whatever the video is about, and then I put a line of asterisks, and then I just paste that. Want to reach out or whatever, whatever it is I write. I can tell you if you want. You could go to my YouTube and see it. It's on any video. And the only thing I change is here, your channel. The only thing I change is like what I'm linking to. Oh, this one was 2B Mindset versus Ultimate Portion Fix. So that's what I titled it. YouTube is kind of a whole different thing, so I don't want to go on a segue of that, but some of the things are similar. But in the description, if I can see it from my phone, I'm not sure. There it is. So I put all the workouts in the world won't get you the results you're looking for without getting a handle on your nutrition. After all, you can't outrun your fork. You've all heard that before. And then I go on and on. So now when you sign up with the challenge pack, that we have, both nutrition plans. I give a little spiel about that. And then I put my hashtag MBF test group, and it highlights and hashtags even on YouTube. That's what the blue is. So people can search on YouTube through hashtags too. And then at the end, I put hashtag Ultimate Portion Fix versus hashtag 2B Mindset. And then I have that little series of asterisks. And then this part down here, this is that copy and pasted part. And it just says, my name's Amanda, I'm a busy wife, mom of 2, plumber husband. I give a little spiel of myself, and then I say, are you ready to build a business or just get in your best shape and want to chat about being a coach on my team? And I give them the links for that. So having that kind of like elevator pitch or a napkin presentation, as they call it, is really handy to have. You should get comfortable with yourself with saying that spiel about yourself, because you will use that even on Instagram too. When people say like, hey, who's this lady? What's she about? Okay, but let's not get sidetracked to YouTube because you guys all know how I am. Squirrel. Okay, so we talk about posting consistently and having good looking pictures. Having the good looking pictures, like a good colorful photo, well lit, is way more important than having a consistent overall theme, I think. Because if people can go to your little, I always think when you go to either your Facebook or your Instagram, but Instagram, this is way more important. You should be able to look at this page, your most recent, right? This is just when you go to my page. So if someone clicks on my name, this is what they see, the last 6 posts. That they may or may not scroll down, but what they can see is the description and my last 6 to 9 posts, depending on what shows on their phone. So you want to make sure that what you show in that at all times kind of reflects who you are. And that's kind of how I decide what I'm missing if I want to take a look and say, you know what, like, that's why I posted that lunch sandwich yesterday. Not because it's the most attractive picture I ever took, but because it was color. Well, I was actually eating it. So I shoved it under the window where I had natural light and snapped a picture. I will literally take it outside and set it on this patio because the concrete looks nice, and snap a picture. And then I go back inside and eat it. So it's really not that exciting. People buy fancy backdrops or whatever. Sometimes I just go outside and hold it over the grass and take the picture from overhead. That gives it a bright green background, and there's my plate. But everything, including you, looks better with natural light, unless you have like a fancy ring light. But look at what's happening in my face now, just as the lighting is changing. It's like changing color, changing shape. So I don't worry about if you're gonna take a picture of yourself, sweaty selfie after your workout or whatever, you can be like this with the back lighting behind you, right? And have whatever, or you can turn around and have the light on your face and your whole face shows. So literally before I take any picture after my workout, I will stand up, hold up the phone, do one of these, see what the light looks like. Oh, look, the bags under my eyes get bigger because the shadow. So I just turn, oh, there's some light, click, take the picture, and I move on. So don't like hesitate to just move yourself and take 2 seconds to take a good picture. And if you make like a good looking lunch, don't hesitate to snap a picture of it. You don't have to post it today. You can post it 5 years from now. You can save it into an album and just say, these are for later. My workout stories that I took today aren't going to be posted for a couple days because I didn't post any today and I still have yesterday's on there. So I'm like 2 days ahead in my workout stories. So even though what I'm saying and writing is in the moment, those stories will go up in a couple days. So you'll see this outfit in my stories like 2 days from now. So that's just something, like I think I was telling Melissa about, that I started doing because I just got behind and missed them one day. I like took them and something came up. I had to go somewhere and I didn't have time to put them up right after my workout. And then the next day I got up, did my workout and recorded my stories like I always do. And I got up and as I was drinking my Energize, I already had the ones from yesterday there. And I was like, oh my God, this is so nice. Like I wasn't like, I gotta get this workout done so I can get these stories up. So my workout stories part is always one day ahead. The rest of it is all real time, but it doesn't hurt anything. I don't think it's any less honest to be doing it less frenzied just a day later with what I share with people. I already share like when I go out with my kids or anywhere like that a day later also because or an hour later or whatever. I never share it real time just because of privacy. So like if I was going to go check in that my kids were and I were at Twigs, I wouldn't post that till after I left anyway because I don't want some weirdo coming to Twigs looking for us. So, like, oh, she's got cute kids, let's go there. So I always do things like that a little after the fact anyway. So just adding my workouts in later kind of made it less pressure for me. So that's just something I do to stay on top of it. So speaking of consistency of posts, I want to talk about the consistency in stories. And this is the same thing. So when I started doing coaching, the social media was like post 3 to 5 times a day on Facebook. That was the rule if you wanted to be seen. Now that's not as important. It's more like one quality post a day on either Facebook or Instagram. It's kind of the same. They have the same owner and they're working very similar algorithms now. But I had stats from a study. Of course, I don't have it pulled up right in front of me, but I'm a numbers person. So of course I thought it was fascinating. I'm sure you all would find it very boring, but okay, I'll say it anyway. So according to this study that they did, profiles that posted 7 or more times a week, at least once a day, get more likes and gain more followers than those that post less frequency. You can almost double your follower growth rate by moving from less than 1 post per week to 6 posts per week. So if that makes sense. So if you're doing 1 to 2 posts a week and you go up to 6 a week, you can double your following. So that is just that consistency of once a day. And what helps me with that is taking those pictures when I see something cute and just saving it for later. So I use the Plan app for that. But another thing you can do is just like if you have an iPhone, you can favorite photos so they're easy to find later in this favorites folder. I'm sure Android has something similar. I also have photo albums function on mine. You might have on your phones too. But like when I'm doing my studying for like, I don't know, something fun like a pig lab, I take all my like fetal pig pictures and I slam them in that album so I can always find them. You could do that and just say save to workout album, save to food album, save to motivation album. And you could make a little album for those themes that you like to post about consistently so that when you see that screenshot of your page, it's kind of encapsulating you in a nutshell. That's kind of like what I kind of think that page should look like. So if I go to my face or my Instagram page, I want people to be able to see that I like food, healthy recipes, that I work out, that I'm a mom, and that's about it. And then anything else is just kind of like maybe it's an outdoor picture, a hike picture, or whatever else is going on in my life. Like right now I'm organizing or whatever. But the other things are kind of fill in, but I always want to make sure that they can see that I work out, that I'm a mom, and that I work on eating healthy. Those are kind of like the 3 things that I want to make sure show. And then I want to make sure that at least one of them shows my face so they know what I look like. And then I want to make sure that when I scroll down a ways, that there's some sort of transformation pictures. So every time I see, so there's one, but every time I see that God, the reflection, that it's been a while since I've shown my face, I put one with my face. Every time that I think that it's been a while since I did my transformation, then I'll put one of those. And then I try and like, it's hard to do backwards, sorry. Keep those things like going. food pictures, I like to always use a white background, and I try and use like round plates and bowls. I actually went and bought one set of a white plate, a white bowl, and a white whatever just for food pictures. And they're in the cupboard. I have like this dark brown china that I like that's pottery, but it doesn't look as great for food pictures. So I went to Fred Meyer and spent $7 and got one bowl, one square plate, one round plate, one salad bowl, and it spent like $7. And then I take my pictures in those just so that I have really pretty white, clean pictures for food so that the food colors show. Anyway, so stories. What time is it? 7:30. Okay, I'm gonna go like 5 more minutes and then it's gonna be Melissa's turn. So there's your warning. For stories, this is a little different than just making sure you post one a day. I think that the minimum amount of stories I would put up a day, like a bare minimum, is 3. But I think that if you can do 3, you could easily do 6. And I would really say 6. Here's why. Like Melissa and I were talking about this at our lunch also. Sorry to keep bringing that up. But when you are hesitant to reach out to people because it feels like they're cold market, which Instagram, everyone almost on Instagram that I didn't already have on my Facebook is cold market. So they're people I don't know. And I don't always know where people came from. Like sometimes people reach out to me and I don't even know they know people I know. On Instagram, that's not as clear. On Facebook, it's easier because you can see who you have mutual friends with. And I can say, hey, AJ, do you know Kristen? Oh, why don't you reach out to her? She's been talking to me, but she's not pulling the trigger. Why don't you try? Or whatever. Maybe you guys known each other longer. But on Instagram, I don't really know. Sometimes people don't even have their real names and it's hard. I don't get to know them really as much through their pictures. Like you can see I'm working out here and you can see my house is a mess. So you learn a little about me, but like stories are gold. First of all, you can link your Instagram to your Facebook so it auto posts them both to both. So I have my Instagram stories auto posting to my business Facebook page. And then I just go manually upload them to my personal Facebook. It takes, once they're already made, and they go up on Instagram, it's already on my Driven Fitness page. I don't even worry about it. I just go into my personal Facebook stories and I just whoop, 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 throw all 6 on at once and move on with my day. I do wait until the wheel goes all the way around to upload them if you're a Facebook person, because otherwise they sometimes go out of order. And I see a lot of coaches from our team, our bigger team, make that mistake, and I'll be watching their stories and they don't even make sense. Like they'll be talking for like 6 stories and they're like all wonky. That's because they tried to upload them. Sometimes when they save to your phone, they're not in order. So just watch them and make sure you're putting them up in the right order. So, but with those stories, if you do text, so one thing I don't like is Instagram took away our old fonts. So now they have these new fonts, which some of them I like better, but they got rid of some that I really liked, which stinks. However, it does offer you different options for highlighting the background and whatnot. I always put 10 hashtags. Every single story you see of mine has 10 hashtags in it. I just hide them behind something. I do it. Every single one has 10 hashtags and a location, no matter what. That location is searchable and the hashtags are searchable. So you can do a location on your posts too. That's another way to get search on your regular post. You don't have to, but you can. Some people hashtag or put the location as something that's unrelated to the post. I think you should only do it if it relates to your post. If you're posting about New Orleans, you could tag it in New Orleans, but otherwise I think I would keep it to where you are, whether that's a restaurant or whatever. If it's somewhere that's in your market, in your avatars like ideal market, then I would definitely hashtag it. So a lot of busy moms go to Starbucks, so I would probably location tag Starbucks if I was there. But sometimes when I'm posting from home, I'll let it say Culver, I'll let it say Spokane. I don't really care. But in the stories, I always do. And all I do is I go in here to my notes where I have a bunch of different hashtags saved in groups of 10, and I just copy and paste it right onto my story. And since I'm uploading my stories, I just go in here and copy, I paste it, and then I just shrink it down with my fingers so it's really small and it doesn't show, or I put something over it. So if I'm using one of those texts with the backgrounds, like on this one, I probably have the hashtags and the stories hidden behind that text. if I'm doing like this picture of my sweet girl right after she's born, even though her eyes were open and she was only like an hour old, which is great. This picture melts me. I just shrunk them down and put them in the white part of the picture. You can't even see them. I just picked a light space. And if worse comes to worse and there's nowhere to put it and I don't want to put any text over it, you know where I put it? In the very, very top left. Because when you're watching my stories, my face shows up there. You see my little circle? So if you put it in the very, very top left, no one seeing your stories is going to see it. So if you want to get into that habit of putting them there every time you can, the only thing is when you're uploading them, once they're up there, you're really hard to get out of there. So you better have what you want there, right? But anyway, I always do that. Now, the other thing that I think is important with stories is timing. If you're going to do 10 stories, yeah, that's better than no stories. But if you're going to do only 3 and you put them all on at 7 in the morning, only the people on Instagram between like 7 and 7:30 are going to see those. And then they kind of get buried under all the other people's stories at the top of their feed. So if you're going to do that, make sure that if you're just doing a breakfast, a lunch, and a dinner picture, fine, then just do that. But make sure they have 10 hashtags, a location, but please don't upload them at 7, 7:01, and 7:02. At least do them at 7, noon, and 5, because then when I go to the top of my Instagram and I see, here's me, here's my Instagram page. I'm sorry this is so hard to focus on the light, but I see who has stories available to watch. And when she puts up a new one, she's going to bump to the front. And once I've watched hers, she bumps all the way to the bottom. So if you've added a new one, you move to the top of your friend's little Instagram story preview where they might see you. So space them out if you can. Put a couple on in the morning, a couple in the afternoon, a couple in the evening. Put one before bed, like even if it's just like a smiling good night picture. I always put my whack hair good morning picture, just because it takes me a little while to get through my morning routine before I'm ready to start posting, but I want my story to go to the front. So the first thing I do is take that fucking hot mess hair picture almost every day and say happy Tuesday. And it's okay, because I like my people to know I'm real and I'm not afraid to be in front of them looking a hot mess. So that fits with who I am anyway. Like AJ does a lot of meditations and journaling and devotions and things like that. You could put a snap of that. And if you read whatever PD you're reading today and you read and you find like 10 quotes that you love, you can take all 10 pictures and save them. And that will give you something to write about in your stories for the next 10 days, because you really did read it. So to me, that's still authentic. I mean, I really like to feel authentic in what I'm posting. It makes it easier, but just don't think that it has to be what you did. At least I don't think it has to be what I'm doing this very, very second to be authentic. It's still what I did today or yesterday or what I read, and I still have something to say about it that I think adds value to people. The other thing I would say about stories is the reason I say if you can do 3, you can do 6, or you can do 9. My minimum, I don't think I would ever go less than 10, because it's just so easy to do 3 in a row really quickly. Like, you can say, this is what I'm having for lunch, and show a picture, and then you can show the same picture again and break down the ingredients. Or and then you can say, what are you having for lunch, and add a sticker. Adding those things that makes it interactive. The more people that click on those things, the more your stories are shown to people, and the higher in the algorithm you go. And not just your stories, but actually your posts too. It works for both of them. If people are viewing your stories, even your posts go in their feed more, which is kind of cool. Stories are your opportunity to talk just like this to the people that you're wanting to get to know. So when I go into my stories right now and I see my oldest story is 13 hours old, and it was seen by 162 people. So it's not even a whole day old, and I have 162 people. I feel comfortable messaging anybody of these 162 people as not cold market anymore. Because if they're watching my stories, they've heard me talk like this. They've seen me post about my meal. They've probably seen a little story of my kids. They've probably seen what I've done, some of my workout. They have a pretty good idea who I am, at least in general. And if they took the time to watch a couple stories, then I don't feel like that's a cold market anymore. Like sometimes people are like today, I took like 9 boozy baskets to people in my neighborhood, and I am so lazy that I pull up and I make Olivia run them to the people's door, ring the doorbell, and come back to the car. And she's coming back to the car, and this lady's like, "Oh, thank you so much, Olivia. Tell your mom thank you." And I didn't even know she knew my kids' names. So while you might not want that with your kids, I'm just saying that, and that's up to you how much you share. But what I'm saying is that's an example of that we've been friends and she's been following me and she knows my kids' names, which I really only post once in a while, their names. It's like you would have to have been watching for a while. If you're someone I know from Instagram, you might not even know them, except that I have on mine, I have a little blurb about them in my little highlights, which I want to redo. I keep saying I'm going to redo, but I haven't. Okay. So anyway, that's the last thing is when you're in your stories, make sure you're sharing your personality and you're not afraid to talk to people because that's how they get to know you and that's how they get to know what's important to you. So don't try and please. The number one thing I'd say as an overall tip is the same no matter what your social media is. Don't try and please everybody because you're not going to be for everybody. Everybody has people they like and people they don't like. If I talk to someone in my coach Tanya's voice, and that's the only script I ever copied and pasted, and that's the only way I ever talked to them, then when they were working with me, they might expect a little more of a different voice. And when I swore, they might be surprised or offended because I have kind of a potty mouth. And like, I want my personality to come through in my messages so that people understand and they know. Like, I might drop a hip hop or a rap, like, gif under your picture like to cheer you on. It might be like Snoop Dogg saying yeah for sure. And if you're like, who is that weird black man she put on my post, we might not be a good match because you don't like the same things I like, or we don't work on the same wavelength. And so being authentically yourself in the beginning, when I was a new coach, I tried to make every post I made non-offensive to everyone. And now I just think it's so much more important to be myself and be who I am, because the people that you find will get you. Even if they're not, I don't need people exactly like me, but I just need people who get me and understand like who I am. I might not always do everything right, but my heart's in the right place or whatever. Or, I'm a really, really good mom, but I do swear. These things, they are things that are part of me and I need people to know that. So I'm going to turn it over to Melissa, and please jump in if you have anything to add to anybody, because I need to stop talking.
I think you might have covered it all. So a couple things that I would say, like, I worked with a business coach for my hair brand, and she is a master in branding. And so part of it is branding. And like, I was just thinking about this while Amanda was talking, like, if Amanda wanted to cultivate her brand as what it is, and one of the things that they talk about is niche hashtagging. So like, hashtags are great, but if you're constantly just hashtagging fitness, for our example, like, it's going to get lost in all of the fitness posts, because if you think about how many people every day hashtag fitness, then it's 1 in 1 million or whatever in an hour. But so Amanda, like, constantly in her story, she's like, oh, I'm a hot mess. But if she said, like, her hashtag suddenly became like hot mess fitness mama, all of a sudden that post, and she constantly is tagging it, it grows, right? So that's the number one thing. So with that, one of the things that we do for my hair brand, and then what I'm starting to work on for Beachbody, is creating a co-op. So every time I post, if it's a story or if it's a grid post, I tag at least one of who I call my co-op, and they're people within my brand or within my market that I know that I've said, like, hey, I'm going to go out and need you to like or comment on this post, because part of the algorithm for Instagram is how much activity your site sees or how much conversation you get. And so for me, like, I always tag my brand manager, and she will always comment on my post because then it creates conversation. So they say a lot of what you want to do is engage in conversation with your niche brand. So like for us, like, if Amanda's commenting to me, I want to make an effort to comment back, even if it's just an emoji, because that adds to the algorithm. So they say every other post, like she was saying, she has brands of 10. So do 10 hashtags, but like maybe 5 of them are niche hashtags. So they're your fit mama, or your, like mine for my hair page are Mains by Melissa and Coffee with My Best. Because what my brand behind the chair is like, I want your experience in my chair to feel like we're having coffee every day. So that's my brand. And so Coffee with My Best is like, oh, this is like a coffee conversation. Some of the other things that like we talk about a lot is like you can monitor your brand. So if you're being tagged, like your page, right? So like if Amanda posts something and she tags you in it and it's not your brand, you can go in to edits and take those tags off if they aren't congruent with what you want your following to see. So like, do you guys know what I'm talking about? Is that confusing?
This part I haven't heard, but the other 2 things I did have a couple things.
So here, oops, where's my camera? There you go. On here, right? Like this, so this is my hair page. This little tab right here on the far left is where all of the posts that I've been tagged in come up. So these are not my posts, they're just posts that I've been tagged in. So like my hair people or other people in the industry. So like if I was concerned that these are all my niche people. So like if I was concerned that this didn't speak to my brand, I can go in up here. Ooh, you're right. This is hard to do backwards. In settings, and then in privacy, it will say tags right here. And so when I tap on this, you can go in and say manually remove tags. And then you can go in and take any of the ones that you don't want. Like, because if you were, I'm a weirdo, like I would go in and look at what Amanda's tagged in, because it gives me a grander idea of who she is, right?
I want to
so that's one of the things
too.
that we talk. I'm sorry.
I want to pipe in on that too, just because I just want to say that is also true for Facebook. And when people do this to me all the time on Facebook. They tag me in things because they want people with big followings on their posts. So they'll tag me in things. And just so you know, when other people go look at your Facebook, that they see that as your most recent post, the thing you're tagged in. And sometimes I get tagged in things that I don't have any clue about, like somebody's makeup party that I've never even talked to that person, or somebody's, like that would be like me doing a challenge group post saying, inviting to my next post and tagging every person in my private challenge group. I would never do that because that's like spamming them to get business. So to me, that's spam. So I didn't actually, it happens once in a while on Instagram, I guess, but I didn't realize what you're talking about. But yes, I think that's really important because I don't want to waste my credibility, I guess, on something that I really have nothing to do with. And also my sales potential, I guess. Like I want my sales potential to be used with my people on what I'm involved in and things that I actually support, and not just every random person's Tupperware party for the last 15 days who's tagged me in it, unless it's someone I'm going to their Tupperware party.
Yeah. And then, so one of the other things is they call to actions. And so those things are like your polls, your stickers, your questions, all that stuff. So the more you can post those and get people to interact with them. So like, even if they're like in your co-op, right? So like, even if it's me or Amanda that are answering those, the more people will see those when they come up in the story. One of the other things that I did not know, and I have been doing, and I hate doing it because I hate talking, but when you post your stories, if you can put your hashtags in, right? So one of the ones, like if you're co-branding, that's where we're going, sorry. If we're co-branding, so for example, I posted a story about Leukemia and Lymphoma Society because it's a charity that's close to my heart. So in that post, I put all of my branded like fitness posts or hashtags, and then I shrunk them down like Amanda's talking about. But when Leukemia and Lymphoma Society featured that story on their story, that you can tap on it, right, and it'll pull up my story. So then all of those people who now saw Leukemia and Lymphoma Society and my post are now seeing all of my fitness hashtags too. So I do it a lot with local businesses. So like when we were in the quarantine, we did Takeout Thursday. And so every time I would do takeout, we would do local businesses and post them. And every time, I'm not kidding you, every time my local, it was in their story. And I got so many followers just from following local businesses in Spokane. So that was a big one for me. And then one of the things that I have learned that works really, really well is if you have a post that works really well, so if you get a lot of likes or starts a lot of conversation, double down on that post. And then you don't have to like reuse it specifically, but like if you have a picture, like I take 6 pictures of the same thing, right? So you have one photo. You can go back, like Amanda was talking about in your stories, and use it a week later and say like, when I was making this post, here's what I used. Because if it's engaged once, it's usually highly engaged twice, because people are like, oh, I remember that. I want to know more about those running shoes or that meal that she made or whatever. But when you break them,
do you mean that you'll use the exact same picture or just like another picture from that family?
No, like something similar. Yeah. So like I always take 2 or 3 pictures of the same meal. So like when I'm meal prepping or whatever, I'll take 2 or 3 pictures, and if one of them does really well, then I'll reuse one of the other in that segment, but not the same exact picture. Oh, and then this one I really like too, and I think actually this might be, I don't know if a lot of coaches do it because I'm new to that whole community, but do you know what user generated content? So when you're talking about being branded or being tagged in those pictures, that's like a user generated content. So like if you have a really great transformation and one of your teammates or your team tags you in it, that's a great way to use your niche hashtag and get it to expand. So like if you tell your team to tag you in their transformation picture and tag it with your branded hashtag, then you can like use that as your content also, because it's authentic to you. You're coaching this person, it's your brand, they're using you as your coach, whatever. Because people like to see who you are and what your product is on the end result. And so for me, it's hair and Beachbody, but when I do hair, I'm always like, make sure that you say like Means by Melissa or Coffee with My Best. And then I can reuse that post because it is my work, so to speak. They did the work for working out, but you get the idea.
And that works in stories too, if you tag someone. So like if I'm shouting out AJ for hitting diamond, I make sure and I put her, even if I don't put her tag where she can see it, I make sure it's on there so she can add it. I just did like 7 different stories from getting Olivia's hair done. And I made sure and hid Holly's tag in every single one so that she could add them to her stories if she wanted. I do it when I use Halo Top ice cream and they always put me in their stories. I did it when I did like Go Noodle dancing with the kids, the preschool workouts, Go Noodle. And Go Noodle sent me a message and a big package of Go Noodle stuff for my kids. Like they were like, we really want to send you something. Your kids were so cute. Can we have your address? And I was like, okay, because you're not a creeper. And so, but then when they feature it, just like what you're talking about, they share it in their stories, and that gives people back who like might see me and go, what is she doing, you know, with her kids, and they might start watching your stories.
Yes. Yep. So I think that other than those things, you had covered some of the other stuff that I had wrote down. So
the only other thing I was thinking that I didn't cover that you kind of were touching on was the hashtags. Like, so when we're talking about the 10 and she was saying the big ones and whatever, I forgot to say about that, but we've talked about it before, but it is nice to have a refresher call and to say like if you just say hashtag fit mom, when you start typing in the hashtag, it will show you on Instagram like 1.2 million or 700,000 or 500,000. And I see you. And it's okay to have a couple of those bigger ones. You can, because they might actually say what you want to say just for like the reader's eye, like as someone reading it, like hashtag sorry, not sorry. Like no one's going to find me searching that, but it might actually be funny and relevant to my post to write that. But then the other hashtags I'm going to use, like if I put 10 hashtags that are all like hashtag fit mom, hashtag runner, hashtag, you know, beach body coach. Nobody's searching beach body coach. You're right. And then when you see a hashtag that has like 5 million, when people do search by hashtags or keywords, you're going to be so buried. Even if you did make it to the top of that feed, you're gone in a minute, unless you have a massive following and people keep clicking on it. But if you want a couple that are 100,000 and a couple that are 50,000, and then I don't really want anything that's like, if you see something that's like 200 or less, and if you don't know, click on it and look. Like one time I was hashtagging something, and I can't remember now, but it only had like 400 posts. And I went and looked at it, and they were all from the same person, kind of like Mains by Melissa might be. So me putting myself in their niche of like, either I'm going to fight them for it and take it over, or I'm willing to share it with them, but it didn't look like something anyone else would search. Otherwise, more than one person would use that hashtag, right? So just kind of like, if it gets to a smaller number, then unless you're going to make it your own, then probably it's kind of a waste of a hashtag. So just looking at how many they have, if I put all like if you go to Nike's page and you copy the same 10 that they use, you're sharing that with probably 500,000 other people. And also I'm not a big fan of like, I'm not going to post hashtag Nike on my posts if I'm wearing Under Armour shoes. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, don't do something like that. Is just kind of weird too, because when someone says, "Oh, I like your shoes. I've never seen those. What are they?" And you're like, "Oh, they're the Pegasus, 5,000." And they're like, "Why'd you hashtag it Brooks running shoes? I thought those were new Nikes." So you just using, you can utilize those kind of things, and you can go look at someone who is in your same niche to get ideas. Like you can go look at what other accounts that you like that are maybe a little more successful than yours are posting, and then go from there. Like I tried to share with the gal who did my lashes. I shared a lot of things with her team about Instagram back when I was getting lashes done, and I kind of taught them about relevant hashtags. And if you say like they were putting all like Stars lashes, Stars Spokane lashes, Stars Salon Spokane lashes. But if you aren't looking up Stars Salon, you aren't seeing any of those. So you're only showing those things to your current clientele, and that's not really helpful. So aside from your one or two branding ones, like she was talking about, I can't remember if that's the right name for them, but then from there, you want things that are like, like I don't want to hashtag Pokemon, but I might hashtag like Pokemon obsessed or something, because it has a little less. And then, my kid is Pokemon obsessed, and I'm probably going to either get a bunch of kids who are Pokemon obsessed, or maybe some moms who use that. If I hashtag boy mom, I usually only would use that because it's actually funny and relevant to the story. Like, I can't believe he did this, like boy mom life. But I'm not expecting people to find me in that algorithm with boy mom, because there's going to be 8 million boy mom posts, But I've been hashtagging Elijah as beast mode baby forever. And people will say, oh my God, whenever he does something funny, people will be like, well, he is beast mode. It's because they know, because they saw that hashtag for like however old he is, 6 years. So that's kind of like the same as that branding thing, except it's his own little beast mode brand. It's either that or Seahawks.
People call my kids the Ben and Jerry's kids, because my older one, I don't ever use their names on my business page. So my older one is Half Pint and my little one is Peach Perfect. And it's like, everyone's like, oh, they're the Ben and Jerry's kids. And I'm like, yeah, I guess.
That's cute though.
Yeah.
And
so then,
now
it's like Ben and Jerry's kids.
That's something that if you guys wanted to talk to Melissa about more about running a more private page, she probably has insights in that, but I think that would be like a whole nother conversation. So, but I'm sure you guys could arrange like to meet up, but since she's only Instagram, I can't say go post it in the team page, but she could like message me about it and I could post it.
You can create co-ops inside Instagram Messenger if you want to create a team.
We do have one for like the Diamond Dash we had one. And then like I put your Instagram page in our team page and told my team to go follow you on Instagram because they have a new teammate over there. So, I mean, I did like try and connect the dots. And you call it co-ops. A lot of people call them pods, Instagram pods. But I definitely, anytime I see any of your guys' posts come up, I always try and leave a comment, even if I'm in a hurry. And sometimes like it will be more thoughtful and know that I mean that, but sometimes it's just like, way to go, because I just want to make sure you have that comment on your post and it gets seen. So I always like and comment on them if I see them. And I think that's why it's important for us to kind of like support each other as a team too, and just keep things visible. And if there isn't a comment, and I know it will be the first one seen, I try and make it more than just great job too, because it's going to be the first thing someone sees underneath. And that's something that you can really do. That's kind of like giving nucks to your friend. Like that's a little boost for you. If you post a recipe and I say, I can't wait to try this, this looks so good. People see that first comment under the post when they're scrolling. So for that to be the post, that comment is a lot better than just like a thumbs up, right? Because we all know what I think of a thumbs up. It might as well be that.
Yeah.
Like,
and that was one of the other things I just remembered too, is like if you're Instagramming an ideal client, like you want them to be on your team, find the pictures that no one's commented on that engage you, and make a thoughtful comment on that. And then the other thing that I just read like 2 days ago is the algorithm will lean heavy on reels for probably 3 to 6 months.
Yes. Yeah, and I haven't done it yet, and I need to.
It's so fun. You have to do it.
Well, I was like teaching myself TikTok, but TikTok, I'm a little old for, and also it's illegal. So so now it's no point in wasting time on it. But for those of you that don't know, Reels is the new form of, it's like TikTok, but for Instagram. And basically what you can do is a fun little story, but it goes in your post feed. And if you do an IGTV, and that's the other thing for growth. The more you can go live, the better, whether it's through Reels or through IGTV. So I started making IGTV channels when I did Ultimate Reset. I just did every single day of the reset in order. And then I was like, a fitness tip Friday or a motivation Monday. And I kind of made a channel for them on my IGTV. And so my goal now that I'm not so busy in school is to start filling those things up a little more. So I'm going to challenge myself. I don't have to challenge myself to talk in my stories because I already, you all know, but like, or to work out in my stories or to share like what I'm eating. Generally, those are kind of easy for me. But I do need to challenge myself to go live more, either with Reels or IGTV. Probably I could make them work for both. I'll probably find a way to do that. And anytime I go live, I repurpose it and put it right on YouTube. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have a YouTube either. But since I'm already doing one, it's so easy to do the other. So, but I'm all about repurposing that content so that you don't have to create it twice, make it work for you.
The nice thing about IGTV too is like my boxing video last night, Amanda, is not live.
Okay.
It was not live. I just filmed it and then asked it to upload it. And it said, would you like this to go in your stories or would you like it to be IGTV? And then it posts it as IGTV. So it does stream as it was live, but it wasn't actually live.
Oh, I see. Yeah. And when
because
you do
I am
IGTV, just so you know, like also when I do an IGTV live, I let it go in my feed. And after a day or two, I remove it because it messes up my pictures. Like sometimes the beginning is like, you're like this. But also you can change that. You can even upload the cover photo for it so it has a prettier picture, or pick a picture from your thing so that it has the look that you want. But like it's not always relevant longer than when I did the video. So then I will just go on later, tap on it, and you can remove it from your feed. So leave it live so people see it. And you can also share the beginning to your stories. So it plays the first 30 seconds in your stories and then it will say, continue watching on IGTV. And you're like, yeah, so it works for you in more than one way. But just know that if you're practicing talking in your stories, like getting comfortable talking to the camera, don't worry about if it's something totally original. It just needs to be helpful to you. Like you can talk about, you didn't have to invent it. You can just say like, anytime you're sharing useful content, same with a post, not just a live. And then the nice thing about stories, the reason I loved them so much, and I think it's great, is because it's 24 hours. So, I mean, if it's not great, it's gone tomorrow. So if you feel like you stumbled over your words or whatever, who cares? Like, it's gone tomorrow. Who saw it, and they'll forget by tomorrow probably, but you'll just keep getting better and better and more comfortable. And the more you can talk about this, when I started coaching and first helping like AJ and Brian, we were talking about talking to people in the grocery store and getting comfortable. So I would like bring it up at the checkout in the post office. People be like, wow, your groceries look really healthy. And I'll be like, I don't ever just say, yeah. I say like, oh my God, you should have seen what they look like 5 years ago. I'm like this is a total overhaul. And they'll be like, really? What are you talking about? And I'm like, oh my God, I used to be like, today at White House Black Market, I ordered a dress for a wedding. It came, it didn't fit. I took it back. And I told the lady, I'm stupid. Like I said, sometimes I still order sizes that are too big because I'm not used to it in my head. So I ordered these dresses in a 14 and they were way too big. And I had no idea what size I wore from that store because I'd never been there before. And I had her, and then next thing you knew, all the ladies shopping were like eavesdropping while this lady was talking to me about how I should have ordered a 10 or an 8. And I was like, really? I don't know, and I'm like, well, I used to be like 265 pounds. So in my head, I can't get over the fact that I might be out of the teens, or the XLs, anything that doesn't start with an X. So, Dad's home. Sorry. Daryl's a creeper and he just comes up to the slider and just opens it. And the dog is just like, rah! It's just a shadow in the door. But anyway, this kind of goes hand in hand with another thing that is like something that I try really hard not to do, and that's being paralyzed by perfection. Like, you can want so badly for your food picture to be perfect or your workout picture to be perfect, but if you're not putting it out there, then I would rather see something imperfect that gets better. I mean, you can scroll to the back of my Instagram and see it didn't always look like this. And I'm not saying it's better or worse. I'm just saying that I just kept going. I didn't know how it worked. I didn't use any hashtags when I started. And then the hashtags I used were all those ones I just told you not to use because I didn't know any better, and then I just kept trying to put stuff up. Then I was only making my Facebook posts if I thought it had a nice enough picture. I was just also putting it on Instagram. Now I do it the other way around. I do a regular post for Facebook that's more like, Facebook is more like friends and stuff, but on Instagram is more kind of my business. And if I think that I have something from my personal life I'm willing to share on Instagram, I'll go put it on there. But everything from Instagram goes over to Facebook because there's nothing like, why not? And the more you talk in these stories, the more comfortable you'll get, just like the more you talk to someone about it in person. The hardest people for me to talk to about it was my family, because I'm like so worried about being judged. So talking to my family or close friends, and I'm really worried about judgment and rejection, right? Because I could care less if 10 strangers tell me no, but when one person I care about tells me I'm ridiculous, that hurts a lot more, right? So those people were harder for me to talk to. So I kind of keep that in mind when I'm talking to people on Instagram. And I just think like, it's no skin off my nose if they say no. It doesn't cut me to my core if some random person is like, whatever, but it definitely, the more comfortable you get talking to people, like that to me is like the free zone. I talk to you all day long about my workouts and my food on Instagram. I don't want to know, I'll tell you, and then when someone in your family does ask you, you're comfortable enough to talk to them about it. But for me, like, you would think it would be the other way around, but I'm less intimidated talking about it there because I don't care what people think of me that I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. If you think I'm ridiculous, then we're probably never going to be friends. Like, right? So no loss. And if we are a good fit, then great. But, so that's the way I kind of choose to look at it, to flip it on its head so it doesn't scare me, if that helps. Because there's no loss to striking up a conversation with some mom that you think you might have something in common with that you came across in your Instagram feed. Like, Anyone have any other questions before we wrap it up? Because I know it's already been an hour and it's past AJ's bedtime.
It is. My family's in there getting ready right now, actually.
I'm sure they are. I'm waiting to see Donna come out in footy pajamas.
No, she's doing the dishes.
Oh,
No, this was really, really helpful. Yeah, I'm just going to reach out to either one of you if I have other questions.
Please
And
do.
I know Jen's new to Instagram, so I thought it would be helpful for her. Anything
Yeah.
that you had to share.
It's like drinking from a fire hose. It's like,
I know.
it's so new. I joined literally a month ago, and I've been watching a lot of videos, and like what you're saying is kind of similar but different. And I'm like, I'm like, okay, it's all really.
I would just start with like baby steps, like putting up a post today.
Yeah.
That's what I would
Yeah.
worry about. I wouldn't even worry about the hashtags. I
And
would
that's
just
what I'm
be
doing. I'm trying to
you
find
know.
some cool posts to do that maybe engaging, and I'm playing around with hashtags, but I'm finding like I'm doing like the girl mom thing, and I'm getting people who are trying to sell to me, and I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I got to stop that.
Yeah, well,
So I'm
it
like,
happens
okay.
to me still too, so don't worry. I
Yeah.
get
Me too.
tried to get recruited into challenge groups all the time, and I'm like, I just straight up I'm rude now. I just say, clearly you didn't even look at my page, because
Right.
either that or I'm doing a really shitty job at what I do.
Yeah.
I just say it because like, that'd be like me trying to get Melissa to like
Let you cut her hair.
hair. Yeah, like you should go to hair school. Think about doing hair. You have great hair. Like you're like,
I mean, I'm a
20 poster about doing hair. So clearly you didn't even look.
I need a haircut desperately, so I'm like,
Yeah, I just think like it's gonna happen either way. But just getting in the habit of putting up posts consistently and getting comfortable in your story, and then do that for a week and play around with hashtags. You'll see which posts. Like I'll notice it's okay to at the end of the week, maybe like on Sundays or something, look back and say what worked for me this week and what didn't. Be like, look at every time I put up a workout picture, people really liked it. Or every time I shared something that wasn't fitness related, people really
Yes.
liked it. Or every time I share something from my like my devotions, people liked it, because that's your niche, whatever it is for you. That wouldn't be for me, because I can't even like
that's the
my
thing.
morning
They want to
routine
know.
is terrible.
They want to know you
Yeah.
before they
Yeah.
know your business.
Yeah.
Facts tell, stories sell.
Yeah.
Right.
And one of the
Yes.
things I would say for you, Jen, is if it's easier for you to like use like you use Planner, right, Amanda?
I use Plan. Yeah.
Plan, and I use Later. So like every time I take a picture, I just upload it into, and it basically you can just schedule your posts. So if you have a day where you have a bunch of pictures and right now you just want to post one a day, you can put them in there and it'll allow you to rearrange them.
Is
So
that
you
a
can-
feature of Instagram Plan? Is that
It's
what that is?
It's a
It's a
separate
different
app.
app. Yeah.
And hers
Okay.
is called Later.
Yeah.
Plan or
And
later?
there's-
Okay, I'll look them up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
But you
like,
can go ahead.
we'll just all talk over each other. But it's just helpful because it just allows you to kind of like store those pictures in one place. So just like how you're saving them in your photos or favoriting them, it's kind of the same thing, except it stores them in an app. And then I can go into each of those pictures and write the captions. So there have been times in my life, like before I go on vacation, like where before I go to Priest Lake for the week, where I might do 4 or 5, make sure I have at least 4 or 5 that I can use. And now I probably have like 30 in there. And I will say one thing that sucks about it is when I change my hair, a lot of those become irrelevant because I don't want to post them anymore, because I'm like, I haven't had short purple hair in like 2 years. Why did I never post this then? Right. But like food pictures and stuff like that, or anything that's like more, that doesn't have my face in it, basically anything that's like motivational or anything. Sometimes I just go in there and I'm like, this is what I feel about this right now, but I already made a post this morning. So I'll just put it in there. And then someday when I'm in a hurry or I don't have time, I have something to post. But I mean, a lot of times I just come up with it on the fly too. And that works too.
Or if you have like an inspiration, like you've posted your post for the day and you have a great picture, like later you can go in, write the entire post and say, post this tomorrow at 6 a.m. and it'll post it for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have Plan on my phone, and I like to use. I don't use it as much, but I do. If I don't have time to post, but I just want to get a few thoughts out, I'll just put any picture in there to hold the place and what my thoughts are, and then go back and
I do
edit
that
later.
too. I have to find, and I also have ones with the hashtag sets saved on them too. And I just like have a picture that says food, and that's food hashtags, and a picture that
Nice.
says whatever fitness, and then that I save them under that so that when I go in, I know which ones are relevant to what.
Mhm.
But yeah, then I can at least get the thoughts out and in one place, which is helpful. But hers allows you to post later, like a buffer or whatever.
Okay.
I don't know how that works within the algorithm. It used to not work very well within the algorithm as well anyway, but I don't know now. I mean, maybe
It doesn't seem
doesn't
to
seem to
affect
be
it.
hurting her any, so I would say go with it.
Mhm.
Yeah, but really, I
Tell
just think getting the consistency down first is
Yeah. Okay. Now you're the one was called Later, and then the other one was called what?
plan with two
Plan.
ends.
Plan with 2 ends. Okay.
And if you look in the team page, I have a post about it that kind of explains, and it shows pictures of what it looks like, so you can see what it looks like and stuff.
Okay.
And they also send me like a monthly content calendar in an email, like things to post about. They have like a 30 days of live, so ideas if it's something that you struggle with coming up with what to talk about. Another thing you can do if you struggle with what to post about and you want to follow some sort of pattern is be like, on Mondays I do a motivation post, on Tuesdays I do a workout post, on
Okay.
Wednesdays I do family night, on Thursdays I do fitness, on Fridays I do food, or whatever it is, you know. And you can do that, or you can pick like the 5 or 6 or 7 things that you want to talk about the most and just kind of go in order and hit them. That way you don't end up with like 5 food pictures in a row. But there's lots of just different little rules you can make to help yourself. And like she was saying, with Later and Plan, you can actually take the pictures with your finger and drag them around so they're in the right order. And with Plan, at least, it shows my Instagram feed. It shows the last recent posts, so I can see what it looks like next to it. I can move them and say, oh, don't want that there. There's 2 bowls of food right next to each other. You know, I'll save that food picture for tomorrow, you know, so I don't even have to go to my Instagram to see it. But I kind of think of that as more like the finessing stuff that kind of comes later. And the just getting out there thing is first. And with the other thing is, like she mentioned, engagement. If you have a great recipe, like sometimes I'll do a whole recipe in my stories, but not very often. But a lot of times I'll say, if you want this recipe, message me, and then I'll message it to them or whatever, because it makes them reach out to you. And when people swipe up your story or swipe off to send you a DM, that is just the same as like answering a question or answering a poll. You can put a sticker on it that says, what's your favorite soup recipe, and ask the question. And then on the next one, you could say, I've got a great veggie soup recipe. If you want it, you know, vegetable barley, click here and I'll DM it to you. And then if they say, yes, me, I want the recipe. And like with the stickers, I usually ask yes or yes questions. Like, I don't say like, yes, I want that recipe, or hell no. I'm usually like, yeah, send me the recipe, or like, I love vegetable soup. Right? Like something like that. Like, I love vegetable soup, or yes, I want the recipe. And then no matter what they click, I can send them a message and start a conversation and be like, hey, I saw you wanted my vegetable soup recipe. And then I just give it to them. And then they're like, oh, thank you, I'm trying to eat healthier, or whatever. And then you can start that conversation. And it can be about anything. You can say like, I'm looking for a new activity to do with my kids in the fall. Do you guys have any ideas? Or whatever it is that's really relevant to you. People who are in your niche will interact and say something back. Sometimes I get no answers on polls, and sometimes I do. You know, it doesn't really, sometimes I get spam people on polls. So like today I had people who wanted the whatever I put in there, who wanted the pumpkin spice link. I had like 7 people send me the link that were all like big bot accounts. I could tell that some auto thing responded that for them. But I had like 4 real people, and 2 people I ended up having conversations with, and one of them ended up ordering a challenge pack. And the other one's supposed to next week on payday. So those were conversations where they asked me about pumpkin spice. I didn't even sell them any pumpkin spice. I sold them a bod challenge pack. So it's because they were like, yeah, I've been hearing about Shakeology. I want to know more about it. And so I just started telling them about that. And then I told them, you know, we have this great deal right now where you get your workouts and your Shakeology all in one, and you get your workouts for the whole year. And one of the gals asked me, is it safe for pregnancy? And that's how we got started. And I started telling her about the new pre and postnatal version of Bar that is on there, the Bar blend that came out, and how we have a whole pre and postnatal section on there. So even after she has the baby. And I did not tell her Shakeology was safe when she was pregnant. I told her I drank Shakeology when I was pregnant with Elijah, and that I blame that on his beast modeness. So I don't know if that's a good thing, but that I said you need to talk to your doctor about that, of course. And then I said, but I can give you some more information about what's in it. And I sent her the Isabel Deichler and Darren O'Lean video link. So, and then after that, she was like, what, you guys have a prenatal section? I was like, yeah. And I just told her about it. And so hopefully she'll be the second one next week. But just because people interacted about it, you know, I don't know that without a discount coach, it's $70 for a box of that Shakeology. I don't know how many of those I might really sell. And I don't ever just put the link to the product in there, but I do want to start a conversation with them. And that did open my eyes to like 4 new people who have wanted to know more about Shakeology, who I haven't talked to before. So never hurts to start a conversation about whatever. And it's a new conversation. I put it in my bat under connections or conversations. And then someone I can follow up with next time I want to reach out and invite them to a free group. So anytime someone's responding to a nutrition poll or something, that's someone I'm going to invite to my next free group. And then the people from my free group become my challenge group, and the people from the challenge group become the coaches. That's my goal. That's how I always did it. The first few years is I build the value and the trust with the free group, and then try and get people to get into my paid group. And then the paid group and the people who really engage and become customers who fall in love with these products and the nutrition and the workouts, those are your perfect coaches. That's where most of my best coaches have come from. So that's a really simple strategy for building, and you can just redo that every month. And I change what the free group is. And AJ and I were talking about how we used to do a free group the first week of the month, the second week, maybe. First week was always the start of the challenge group. Second week was always a free clean eating group. Third week was always a coach sneak peek. And then the end of the month, we're trying to get all those people from the sneak peek and the free group to sign up so that I have SC10 before the last day of the month. And then they're going in to be ready into the next challenge group. And especially now, I mean, we probably should do them all the first week so they get shipped in time.
Right.
God.
It's a lot to manage.
My bod rope did not come today.
It didn't. Yeah, I told her my
no.
bod rope got shipped a week after my challenge pack or something like that, 2 weeks after, and I got it the day before my MBF challenge pack. It was like 3 weeks later. But that is why it's so incredibly valuable how we get our nutrition packages now with not just MBF, but now with the 10 rounds and the regular, that's new for this month, is the regular Beachbody On Demand packages. It's included. So people can really get started right away. And I still have someone who bought a month and a half ago who hasn't started. But there's no excuse not to, because you can access all of this online right now, like within, it says 24 to 48 hours, but I haven't had anyone not be able to log in within like an hour of signing up. And so you can really just start focusing on your nutrition right away. And I did the first 2 weeks of MBF with the first week with nothing. I made one with jump rope. I ordered a jump rope off Amazon. It was too long and I hit myself in the face. I also made tube socks with tennis balls in them, but I ended up just doing them with air. And I still got my ass kicked. So it's no excuse I don't have those fancy bod ropes. You're still gonna get a workout, or you can do something else. Clean week, 21-day fix, anything. Thank you guys for coming.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
If anyone has anything else they want to talk about and whatever, I was doing the first Wednesday call. So this is kind of a first Thursday call this time, but if this is a good day for people, we can keep it on Thursday and do it the first of every month. The first week of every month, if it's helpful. I like touching base with people. I like seeing each other's faces, and I like being able to go over the things that we think will help us now. So yay.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you guys. Thanks for
Good night.
sharing.
Thanks,
Melissa.
Amanda. You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Night,
Good night.
AJ. Have a good
Good
bed.
night.
Bye.